Welcome to Spine Chilling Chats podcast, where we like to spill the tea. If you're into the macabre and enjoy hearing about true crime, supernatural, or spooky experiences, pull up a chair, pour yourself a cup of tea, and get ready for some spine chilling chats with Manda and Ange.
Hi to all the spooks out there. I'm Ange.
And I'm Manda.
If this is your first time joining us, welcome to our spooky family. If this isn't your first time, we've got dibs on being the fun spooky ants.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going with another June birthday, sticking with that June birthday themes. Today, I have Peter William Sutcliffe, also known as Peter Coonan.
Oh, I wonder why. I'm sure you'll tell us.
Well, it's because of his parents were John and Kathleen Sutcliffe, but her maiden name was Coonan.
Oh, so sometimes he went by her maiden name. Okay.
Yeah. He was born June 2nd, 1946. So, happy birthday to him.
Oh.
It is. We're recording early, so it is June 2nd today.
Wow.
Yeah.
But not really.
Not really happy birthday to him.
No.
His birthplace was Bingley, West Yorkshire, England. His parents were John and Kathleen Sutcliffe, and he had 5 younger siblings, 2 brothers and 3 sisters. He was from a working-class Catholic family. Peter served as an altar boy, as he also was a premature baby and had to spend 2 weeks in the hospital. So,
too bad.
I
Too
don't
bad
know.
he pulled through.
Well, yeah, like being a preemie already, sucks because you could not develop correctly.
Right.
So that's already going against him. And he was an altar boy. And let's be real, some of these Catholics are not very Catholic-y.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get on a religion spurt here because
you do you.
Yeah, you guys do you and we'll do us.
And the priest will do all the boys. What?
Ba-dum-bum. His mother was a victim of domestic abuse, making it likely that she struggled through her pregnancy under great emotional stress.
Okay.
So that's probably also why he was born premature. His dad was surprisingly a heavy drinker, and at one time he took a beer glass and smashed it over Peter's head for sitting in his chair at Christmas.
Wow.
Could you imagine? Just for sitting in the wrong chair?
Wow.
Yeah. When he was just 5 years old, his dad, who hated his mother, quotes, this is a quote from him, "She was a bitch, and the least said about her, the better." So
it's a loving family is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it gets better. His dad also considered him, and this is another quote from him, "a wimp and always hanging from his mother's apron, a mummy's boy." So he really loved those two.
But
okay, because I'm the same way with Ezra.
No,
that's my son's name, guys. I don't know if I ever said that before.
Yeah, you said that in the first episode. But my dad, I don't know if I should say this or not. But growing up, when my brother was being especially whiny or whatever, my dad would tell him to go suck his mama's titty.
Oh my God.
That doesn't sound that bad to me.
Oh my. I mean, we each have our own things that we say to each other. And
my dad's a great dad. He wasn't abusive towards us or anything. It's just, you
just
he's trying to toughen up his son,
Right. Gosh. His mom, on the other hand, gave a lot of attention to her son and was seen by her as perfect.
Okay.
Which, that's how I see my Ezra.
Yeah.
Yeah. His dad would often whip the children with a belt as a form of punishment, and the siblings later described their father as a, quote, monster.
See, and we had a paddle, and it was it had burn marks in it, and it was taped together with duct tape because it was broken and split.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, so This is how things were. It wasn't considered abuse back then.
I grew up in the 80s, and got whipped with belts. One time my mom took a fucking 2x4.
What?
Yeah.
But your mom's tiny too.
That's why she took the 2x4.
Wow.
Yeah, not the big. It was a small piece of it, but still. And then I grew up in a Hispanic family, so we always got shoes thrown at us or whatever was nearest to us or to them, they would throw at us. Like that's what the Hispanics do. It's whatever's next to them, they'll throw it. You know, it's crazy. I love my family though.
Yeah, my mom, she didn't discipline us. It was wait till your father gets home.
I had a couple of those.
So we were, I remember one time we got in trouble and we were waiting for my dad to get home from work. And so I took a blanket and I stuffed it down my pants. So when he would spank me, it wouldn't hurt. Like he's not going to notice.
Right.
But, little Ange thought, this is a great idea.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I never did anything like that. But even when my mom whooped us with that 2x4, it wasn't even...
That just sounds horrible.
It wasn't even bad. Like, first off, it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Secondly, it wasn't even our fault that we got spanked. Or our neighbors had lit matches in their house. Didn't set anything on fire, just lit the matches because they liked the smell of them. And their parents found out, and they blamed us. And my mom believed them. I'm like, Mom, really? Like, you're going to believe them over your own kids? So she's like, well, I got to do something. Yeah, you cannot spank us with a fucking 2x4 is what you can do. Yeah. Anyway, his younger brother said, younger brother stated, and I quote, "The atmosphere in our house would change as soon as he walked in. His life revolved around playing football, cricket, and singing in the choir and womanizing." That was what he thought of his dad. When Peter was 4 years old, he was sent to St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School, and he was severely bullied. In 1970, his father posed as his wife's lover in order to lure her to a local hotel. He took Peter and two of his siblings to witness him exposing her infidelity. When she arrived, his father surprised her and pulled out a negligee from her purse.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't
Whoops.
that right? Like, isn't that crazy? When Peter was in late adolescence age, he developed an obsession with voyeurism.
Okay.
You know what that is?
Yeah, where you like to watch
Other people,
yeah.
Yeah. He spent a lot of time spying on prostitutes and the men seeking their services because of his behavior. Like, because of the voyeurism, like what he liked. In 1961, he dropped out of school, and he was just 15. He had several different jobs. He was known to be a loner with voyeuristic tendencies. So, again, other people have noticed,
that
as
he
got
watching
older.
you.
Yeah, like as he got older.
Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good song. That's a good song. He had jobs such as a factory and mill worker, a grave digger at Bingley Cemetery in the 60s. And because of this occupation, he developed a macabre sense of humor. His coworkers often said that he enjoyed his work too much and would even volunteer to do overtime washing the corpses.
Ew, that's creep.
And in 64, having done those jobs had led him to a part-time job at a local morgue. And he bragged to his friends about robbing bodies.
Okay.
Like, they're naked. What are you robbing them of?
Like, he's probably stealing them.
Oh.
Robbing them.
Yuck.
Taking them with him.
Ew. From November 1971 to April 1973, he worked at Bear, like Biar or something, Bear.
What is it? The paint
It's
place?
a television company.
Oh, I don't know.
This is in England, so.
Yeah. I've not been.
Me either. On the packaging line. He left when he was asked to go on the road as a salesman. I would rather be the salesman than be on the factory line, I think. No?
I don't like selling.
I don't like people.
I'm not pushy. Like, I've been promoting our merchandise on our website. Check it out. But, like, I feel like I'm annoying people on Facebook.
No.
So.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. But I feel like I could bullshit my way through it and have somebody buy it.
See, but you're better. Like, you think I'm on the fly. I'm not like that at all. Like, I have to plan. I have to know exactly how the conversation's gonna go. Like, it makes me really nervous. I'm not wired that way.
No, you're not. It's hard to be this way. Sometimes it's not great.
Yeah.
So he worked the night shift also at the Britannica Works of Anderton International from April 73 to February 75. He took it as a redundancy, and he used half of the 400 pounds. I'm guessing they have pounds, right? 400 pounds. It was like the little L with the lines through it.
Yeah, the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
To pay off his training to be a goods vehicle driver. A heavy goods vehicle driver.
Okay.
Heavy goods, HGV. On March 5th, 1976, he was dismissed for theft of used tires at this job. Like, he trained to be, so while he was training at whatever job he was at, he got caught for stealing used tires.
But they're used.
Right.
Like,
you can't put them back on vehicles. I mean, good ones you could. A lot of people do that. But,
like,
come
what
on.
were they going to do with them?
Right. I don't know.
Because usually you have to pay to dispose of tires. So
You do, yeah.
He was doing them a favor.
Right. He was doing it for free. And then he gets fired.
Maybe it's different over there, across the pond.
Maybe across the pond. He was unemployed until October of 76. Then he found a job as a heavy goods vehicle driver for T&WH Clark Holdings Ltd. in Bradford. And finally became a trusted employee. He then stayed there during his killing spree. So while he was having his killing spree, this is where he worked. It was reported that he hired prostitutes as a young man, and was speculated that he had a bad experience during one where the prostitute and pimp conned him out of money. But other analysis have not found evidence that he actually saw the services or got the services. That he actually got the services of the prostitutes. We don't know for sure what the actual outcome of that did. Or what that outcome was. We're not sure. Like, did he really get prostitutes or did he not get prostitutes?
I'm sure he got the prostitutes.
I'm sure, yeah, because he was obsessed with them. But he did develop an obsession with them. He said, quote, watching them soliciting on the streets of Leeds and Bradford. That's what he did. He watched them. So, yeah, he became obsessed with them. So I would assume he got the prostitutes while he was trucking. On February 14th, 1976 is when he met his 16-year-old future wife, Sonia Zurma. S-Z-U-R-M-A. Zurma, whatever.
How old is he, like, now?
When was he born? He was born in 46. So...
And this is 70-something?
This is 76.
So he's 30 years old, and he's chatting up a 16-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
And they met in Royal Standard Pub in Manningham Lane and Bradford in the red light district.
Oh, so she was a sex worker.
Yeah. He was married to Sonia on August 10th, 1974. She was studying to become a teacher, and she was diagnosed with paranoia schizophrenia. I forgot to mention that her parents were refugees from Poland and Ukraine in 1966.
Okay.
They didn't have any children. Peter and Sonia, they never had any children. She reportedly had several miscarriages and then was told that she was not able to have children.
That's sad.
Yeah, it was really sad. But at the same time, thankfully she could not have children with this monster.
Yeah, but just because your parents are awful doesn't mean you're going to be inherently awful.
Well, you remember that one that I did with the daughter said that she was not going to have any children because of her dad.
Yeah, that was
so she was not going to have a spawn.
Yeah. That's sad.
She eventually resumed her teaching training course, during which time she had an affair with an ice cream van driver. And then she finished the course in 1977 and began teaching. So she had an affair with an ice cream van driver. I bet she got a lot of free ice cream.
I would hope so.
Yeah. She used her salary to buy a house at 6 Garden Lane in Heaton.
Oh, that's a nice address. Garden Lane.
I know. It's like
I don't live on Garden Lane.
Cute. They moved into that on September 26, 1977, where they were living at the time of his arrest. Her relationship with her husband was later characterized by the writer Gordon Byrne as domineering, which she willingly slapped him down. And I quote, she said, like a naughty schoolboy.
And she wanted to be a teacher?
Yeah. And he was a Catholic altar boy and went to a Catholic school. Yeah, they had some freaky stuff going on. Then her husband occasionally, and quote, contain her physically by pinning her arms on her sides during a common unprovoked outburst of rage.
So he would just lose his shit sometimes.
Yeah. Journalist Barbara Jones, who had many conversations with Sonia, said that she was the most irritating, strangest, and coldest person I've ever met. She is so incredibly prickly and demanding.
Oh.
I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
So, she supported him during his trials, visiting him, and just being a good wife. They did get divorced in 1994, and then she got remarried again in 1997. Even though they were divorced, he named her as his next of kin. She sold the home in December, but there was December of 2021, but there was no record of that.
Oh.
So she visited him all the way till they got divorced. When she got remarried is when she stopped visiting him. I think even as divorced, she went and visited him in prison.
That's weird.
Like, I don't get it.
Move on.
That's love, I guess. But she did get remarried.
Yeah, but she divorced.
Right.
So.
Okay, here we go. Victims and attacks. The murders are in the late 60s. He was responsible for targeting at least 21 victims, 13 of whom which he killed, which were confirmed, 7 confirmed injured, 2 suspected to be injured, and at least 1 other officially suspected murder. The people that survived his gruesome attacks had lasting trauma and severe injuries. He was active from 1975 to 1980, and that was confirmed. It says that he exclusively sought out women who are sex workers in Yorkshire and Manchester. Man, I guess just like here, like New York and California, like those are the big cities for like serial killers, and Chicago. So in England, it must have been Yorkshire and Manchester, because that's all I've heard.
Yeah.
Is them being there. He battered his victims with a hammer, as well as stabbed them and mutilated them with a knife or a sharpened screwdriver.
Ew.
Yeah. Like, the screwdriver's already sharp, but he made it even sharper.
Do you think he was using a Phillips head or a flat head?
Probably a flat head.
But I don't know, if you sharpen
the Phillips?
the Phillips, you're gonna get that point,
Like an arrow.
like a
Maybe he did both.
yeah. Variety is the spice of life.
Authorities have said that he could be responsible for additional crimes, as they have investigated whether he was connected to the unsolved cases. So, the attacks and murders. In 1969, he was first documented to assault a female prostitute whom he had met while searching for another woman that had tricked him out of money.
Isn't that always how it goes?
It is. I guess, like, you come across somebody, like, somebody tricked you out of money, I'm going to go kill somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
He left his friend Trevor Birdsall's minivan and walked up to St. Paul's Road in Bradford until he was out of sight. When Sutcliffe returned, he was out of breath, as if he had been running. He told Birdsall to drive off quickly. Like, no shit, right?
That doesn't seem suspicious.
Not at all. Sutcliffe said he had followed a prostitute into a garage and hit her over the head with a stone in a sock.
Who's just carrying around his, like, did he stop to take off his sock?
That's what I'm confused about. Like, where did he get a sock and a stone just randomly, like, readily available?
He must have just slipped off. You know, he's probably wearing loafers. Just slipped.
And we might say there's a picture of him. He's not bad looking in that picture.
No, he's like wearing a tux and he's got the cutest little bow tie on. Like, he's not cute like Oh man, he's cute. He's
He's
cute.
not like Bundy cute.
Yeah, he was cute as in he looks sweet.
Innocent.
Yeah, he looks like a
but he is not.
sweet guy, you know?
Yeah. According to his statement, Sutcliffe said, "I got out of the car, went across the road, and hit her. The force of the impact tore the toe of the sock, and whatever was in it came out. I went back to the car and got in it."
So now he's down a sock, too.
Right. And he can't reuse it because it's got a fucking hole in it.
Yeah, he's going to now, well, I guess it makes sense. Now he can use his other sock instead of having mismatched.
Yeah.
Set. Yeah.
I wear mismatched socks all the time.
Oh.
I have better things to do with my life than match socks. I have too many socks.
You know, I go in cycles where sometimes I bother matching them all up. Like, I'll be like, man, I'm really tackling this laundry. I'm folding shit. I'm putting it away. I'm folding socks. And then other times I just leave it in a pile and just grab from it.
I just can't. I just throw them all in my drawer and just pull out 2 of them because most of my socks are all the same, so it doesn't matter.
Just different colors.
Different patterns. Well, now he's probably in the same boat because now he's down a sock.
Down a sock.
The police visited Sutcliffe's home the next day as the woman he had attacked had noted Birdsall's vehicle and registration plate. Sutcliffe admitted he had hit her, but claimed it was with his hand. The police told him he was very lucky as the woman did not want to press charges.
You gotta be kidding me.
Nope.
Somebody comes at me with a sock and a rock.
Said the fox.
In the box. Visit us next time for our next Dr. Seuss reading.
Right. Oh. Fox and socks. In a box with rocks.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyway. Now that our rhyming story time is over, it's time to get back to work. In 1975, Sutcliffe committed his second assault on the night of July 5th in Keighley. I don't know how to pronounce that. Keighley. Keighley is how I figured it was pronounced. He attacked 36-year-old Anna Rogalski.
Rogalski? Rogalski? Something like that.
Who was walking alone, striking her unconscious with a hammer and slashing her stomach with a knife.
Oh.
Yeah. Disturbed by a neighbor, he left without killing her. Rogalski survived after brain surgery, but she was psychologically traumatized by the attack.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Later she said, and I quote, "I've been afraid to go out much because I feel like people are staring and pointing at me. The whole thing is making my life misery.
Oh.
Sometimes I wish I had died in that attack."
That's so sad.
Yeah. On August 15th, Sutcliffe attacked 46-year-old Olive Smelt in Halifax. Employing the same modus operandi, he briefly engaged Smelt with a commonplace pleasantry about the weather before striking a hammer blow to her skull from behind. This guy's ruthless. Like, this is one of the worst ones I've had so far. You have really bad ones, but this is one of the worst ones I've had so far. He then disarranged her clothing and slashed her lower back with a knife. Again, he was interrupted and left his victim badly injured but alive. Like Rogalski, Smelt had subsequently suffered severe emotional and mental trauma. Smelt later told Detective Superintendent Dick Holland that her attacker had a Yorkshire accent, but this information was ignored, as was the fact that neither she nor Rogalski were in towns with a red light area, because he targeted the red light district. So they didn't think it was him. And I thought it was weird. I guess not weird. I thought it was different how she was like, he has a Yorkshire accent. Like, to me, they all sound the same over there. Like, you're from England. But just like here, people down south have accents.
Yeah, they have different dialects.
Yeah. So I thought, but I can't tell them apart.
I'm sure you could if you heard
side by side.
Side by side.
Maybe. On August 27th, Sutcliffe targeted 14-year-old Tracy Brown in Silsden. 14.
That's gross.
It's ridiculous. Attacking her from behind and hitting her in the head 5 times while she was walking along a country lane. He ran off when he saw the lights of a passing car, leaving his victim requiring brain surgery. Sutcliffe was not convicted of the attack but confessed in 1992. Brown later said that she had been charmed by Sutcliffe at first. We had walked together for almost a mile, for about 30 minutes, and I never once felt intimidated or in danger, she said.
Yeah, like I said, he looks like a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably strike up a conversation with him. No problem.
Probably. Like, he
Yeah.
just seems like an approachable person.
Yeah.
Just like Bundy did.
Yeah.
You know, like people trusted him at first.
But one thing I am glad about this case thus far, even though he's like targeting the sex workers, it doesn't seem like he does rape at all. Or does he later on?
We'll get into that.
Okay, darn it. I was like, at least he's just, mutilating people.
He hasn't had the chance to yet because he's kept
getting interrupted.
getting erupted, yeah.
Damn.
The first victim to be killed by Sutcliffe was 28-year-old Wilma Mary McCann on October 30th from Scott Hall. She was a mother of 4 children. Sutcliffe struck the back of her skull twice with a hammer and then inflicted a stab wound to the throat, 2 stab wounds below the right breast, 3 stab wounds below the left breast, and a series of 9 stab wounds around the umbilicus, which...
Belly button.
Yep. At 7:30 p.m., she was last seen leaving her council house on Scott Hall Avenue in Chapeltown area of Leeds. Leeds. I had to pronounce that because I don't want people to think it's like Leeds or whatever. Walking past the nearby Prince Philip playing fields, an extensive inquiry involving 150 officers of the West Yorkshire Police and 11,000 interviews failed to find the culprit. 11,000 interviews.
How do you even conduct that many and, like, retain any of that information?
No idea.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That was all in 1975. Now we're getting into 1976. Sutcliffe, and he was active from 75 to 80. And that was just 1 year. Sutcliffe committed his next murder in Leeds on January 20th when he stabbed 42-year-old Emily Monica Jackson 52 times.
Wow.
Yeah. In dire financial straits, Jackson had been persuaded by her husband to engage in prostitution.
That's a loving husband there.
Hey,
why don't you get a second job then?
Maybe she didn't work at all, so he's like, go prostitute, bitch.
No, like
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You're the man. You provide, okay?
He's like, I got one job. You go get a job. I don't know.
Or
What a supportive husband being like, go prostitute.
yeah, why wouldn't you be like, oh, why don't you see if they're hiring at the local grocery store? Cashiering.
Right.
That's a nice job.
Oh,
No. Why don't you go sell your body to other men
For money.
for money?
Yeah.
Creep.
Using their family van, the family van of their like roofing company business. Like they had, so he must have had a roofing business and he had a van and that's what she used.
So let's roll around with the nails in the back.
Right. Sutcliffe picked up Jackson, who was soliciting outside the Gaiety pub on Roundhay Road, then drove about a half a mile to some derelict buildings in Enfield Terrace in the Manor Industrial Estate. Sutcliffe hit her in the head with a hammer, dragged her body into a rubbish-strewn yard, and then used a sharpened screwdriver to stab her in the neck, chest, and abdomen. He stamped on her thigh, leaving behind an impression of his boot.
That's dumb.
Again, there's still no rape that's mentioned. Sutcliffe attacked 20-year-old Marcella Claxton in Roundhay Park on May 9th. Walking home from a party, she accepted an offer of a lift from Sutcliffe. When she got out of the car to urinate, he hit her from behind with a hammer. Claxton survived and testified against Sutcliffe at his trial. At the time of his attack, Claxton had been 4 months pregnant and subsequently miscarried her baby.
Aww.
She required multiple extensive brain operations and had intermittent blackouts and chronic depression. Isn't that sad?
That's horrible.
Caused her to have a miscarriage.
I couldn't.
Okay, that was 76. Here's 77. He was busy in 77. On February 5th, Sutcliffe attacked 28-year-old Irene Richardson in Chapeltown a Chapeltown prostitute in Round Hay Park. Richardson was last seen at 11:15 p.m. leaving a room house on Cowper Street. Cowper Street. Saying she was going to Tiffany's, a pub and a disco on the center of Leeds.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I know, right? Let's go to Tiffany's. She was bludgeoned to death with a hammer and then had been stabbed 3 times in the
having
stomach.
A great day.
Going to a club.
Getting a little drink on, and then gets bludgeoned to death.
And stabbed. Once she was dead, Sutcliffe mutilated her corpse with a knife. Tire tracks left near the murder scene resulted in a long list of possible suspect vehicles. And only just 2 months later, on April 23rd, he killed 32-year-old prostitute Patricia Tina Atkinson's Mitra. My watch just told me to stand up, and I don't want to. In her Bradford flat, where police found a boot print on her bedclothes. According to Sutcliffe, he picked up Atkinson in Manningham, Bradford, before driving to her residence. He then hit her in the back of the head 4 times to incapacitate her. Sutcliffe then pulled down her jeans and pants and exposed her breast. He then stabbed her 6 times in the stomach with a knife. Still doesn't mention rape.
So he just wanted to look at her. He didn't.
June 25th, 1977, 16-year-old Jane Michelle McDonald went to meet her friends at the Hofbräu House. Hofbräu House. It's German.
Okay.
It's German-style beer cellar in Leeds. She missed the last bus home and went back to her friend's house to wait for his sister to bring her home. After 45 minutes or so, she ended up walking home, where she was attacked by Sutcliffe in Reginald Street in Leeds around 2 a.m. Her body was discovered the following morning at 9:45 by the children in the playground between Reginald Terrace and Reginald Street in Chapeltown.
Those poor kids.
Yeah. Isn't that awful?
At least it wasn't the Boy Scouts again.
But we didn't know if the Boy Scouts were children or not. We know these are children.
That's true.
Ugh. A postmortem exam was carried out by the Home Office pathologist, Professor David Gee. The extent of her injuries was not revealed by the time at that time by the police. Although it was subsequently revealed she had been hit in the head 3 times with the hammer and had been stabbed in the chest and back. A broken bottle was found embedded in her chest. This guy's
brutal.
Yeah. Like, he goes for the hammer to the back of the head every time. And it works. So, like, don't turn your back on people.
Yeah.
Make sure they walk next to you or in front of you.
Do you know, I'm such a horrible person.
What?
Okay, you were saying that he knocked her 3 times. And all I could think about while you were reading that whole section was, knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want.
Oh, my gosh. Way to associate. Or disassociate, I guess.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh. Well, you know, we all do our own thing. I sing little songs when you mention certain words. I'm just like, and then I'm like, wait, what did you say?
What?
Huh? Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
The following month, on July 10th, Sutcliffe assaulted 43-year-old Maureen Long in Bradford. Long was leaving a nightclub when Sutcliffe offered her a lift home. Long stopped to urinate, and Sutcliffe struck her in the head, knocking her out. Long was suffering from hypothermia when she was found and was in hospital for 9 weeks.
Oh.
A witness misidentified the make of Sutcliffe's car, resulting in more than 300 police officers checking thousands of cars without success. Yeah.
But he's been caught a few times.
Yeah.
But nothing came of it.
Nope. You'll see why. On October 1st, Sutcliffe murdered 20-year-old Jean Bernadette Jordan, a prostitute from Manchester. Shortly after 9 p.m., Sutcliffe was cruising the area of Moss Side when he picked up Jordan. After they arrived in Princess Road near the Southern Cemetery, Sutcliffe hit Jordan once in the head before proceeding to hit her 10 more times. In a later confession, Sutcliffe said he realized the new 5-pound note he had given to Jordan was traceable. Yeah. After hosting a family party at his new home, he returned to the wasteland behind Manchester's South Cemetery, where he had left the body, but he was unable to find the note. And it's traceable, which means if the police find it, he's caught. That was on October 1st. On October 9th, Jordan's body was discovered by a local dairy worker and a future actor, Bruce Jones. Never heard of him.
Me neither.
Who was an allotment on land adjoining the site and was searching for his house bricks when he made the discovery. The note, hidden in a secret compartment in Jordan's handbag, was traced to branches of the Midland Bank in Shipley and Bingley. Police analysis of bank operations allowed them to narrow the field inquiry to 8,000 employees who could have received it in their wage packet. So it didn't really get traced back to him specifically yet.
No.
Over 3 months, the police interviewed 5,000 men, including Sutcliffe. The police found the alibi given for Sutcliffe's whereabouts, that he had attended a family party. It was credible. Weeks of intense investigations pertaining to the origins of the £5 note led to nothing, leaving investigators frustrated that he collected an important clue but had been unable to trace the actual firm to which or whom the note had been issued. So
close.
He got out of that one. On December 14th, he attacked Marilyn Monroe.
Whoa!
What? No, he attacked Marilyn Moore, a 25-year-old prostitute, in the back of his car on waste ground in Scott Hall, Leeds. Sutcliffe lost his balance whilst delivering a blow to Moore with a hammer, allowing Moore to escape with a severe head injury, but still alive. Tire tracks, and it's so funny because they spell tire Tyre.
Oh.
Yeah, so it throws me off sometimes. Tire tracks were found at the scene matched those from an earlier attack. The resulting photo fit bore a strong resemblance to Sutcliffe as he had those from other survivors, and Moore provided a good description of Sutcliffe's car, which had been seen in the red light areas. Sutcliffe was interviewed on the issue. I'm assuming nothing came of it. That was all 77. 1978. The police discontinued the search for the person who received the £5 note in January of 78. Although Sutcliffe was interviewed about the matter, he was not investigated further and was contacted and disregarded by the Ripper squad on several further occasions. I also must mention, I forgot to mention in the beginning, he was also known as the Yorkshire Ripper. So I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a Ripper squad, like these police. I wouldn't want to be part of the Ripper squad. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that's a cool. Better than the Suicide Squad.
Right. That month, Sutcliffe killed Yvonne Ann Pearson, a 21-year-old prostitute from Bradford, on January 21st. He repeatedly bludgeoned her about the head with a ball-peen hammer. Okay. Then jumped on her chest before stuffing horsehair into her mouth.
Ew. From
a discarded sofa under which he hid her body near Lum Lane.
Who uses horsehair in a sofa?
In 1978 in Yorkshire, they did.
That's what I'm taking away from this. Who puts horsehair in their sofas?
No idea.
Crazy people.
How is that? How is that even comfortable?
Oh, you would think it'd be scratchy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
10 days later, on January 31st, Sutcliffe killed Elena Helen Reidke, an 18-year-old prostitute from Huddersfield, striking her in the head 5 times as she exited his vehicle before stripping most of her clothes from her body. Although her bra and polo neck jumper were positioned above her breasts and repeatedly stabbed in the chest, her body was found 3 days later beneath railway arches in Garrett's timber yard, to which he had driven her. Sutcliffe said Reidke, while in police custody in 1991, and I quote, "I had the urge to kill any woman. The urge inside me to kill girls was now practically uncontrollable."
Wow.
Vera Evelyn, Vera and Evelyn, I love those names. Vera Evelyn Millward, 40 years old, was a prostitute who left her home in, Chorlton on Medlock at 10 p.m. on the 16th of May, telling her boyfriend that she was going out to buy cigarettes. It's a good cover-up. I'm going to go out and buy cigarettes, but I'm going to prostitute for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's not obvious. Sutcliffe picked up Millward, and after she got out of his car, he attacked her with a hammer. After she died, he dragged her body against the fence and stabbed her repeatedly with a knife. This guy he definitely has an MO.
Yeah,
he's definitely the Yorkshire Ripper. In 1979, on April 4th, Sutcliffe killed Josephine Ann Whittaker. 19-year-old clerk on Savile Park Moor in Halifax, West Yorkshire. As she was walking home, Sutcliffe hit her from behind with his ball-peen hammer and then hit her again as she lay on the ground. He then proceeded to stab her with a screwdriver 21 times in the chest and stomach, 6 times in the right leg before also thrusting the screwdriver into her vagina.
Oh, ugh.
And there we go. Whitaker's skull was fractured from ear to ear.
Wow. Just from the blow from the hammer?
Well, he hit her, I don't know how many times it says. He then proceeded to stab her. He hit her once from behind and then hit her again, it says. So I don't know.
That's some power.
It's fractured from ear to ear.
Oh. I hope she, like that, just...
Hopefully she was dead before he jammed it into her vagina.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I mean, that's a horrible thing to hope, but it's better than feeling that.
Yeah.
What a horrible way to die.
Yes. Yeah. Despite forensic evidence, police efforts were diverted for several months following the receipt of a tape message purporting to be from the murderer, taunting Assistant Chief Constable George Oldfield of the West Yorkshire Police, who was leading the investigation. The tape contained a man's voice saying, "I'm Jack. I see you're having no luck catching me. I have the greatest respect for you. George,
really? Jack?
but Lord."
Jack the Ripper?
That's what he says. That's what he says. "But Lord, you are no nearer catching me now than 4 years ago when I started."
Man.
Yep. Based on the recorded message, police began searching for a man with a Wearside accent, which linguists narrowed down to a Castletown area in Sunderland, Tyne, and Ware. The hoaxer, dubbed Wearshire Jack, sent 2 letters to the police and the Daily Mirror in March of 1978, boasting of his crimes. The letters signed Jack the Ripper.
You gotta be kidding me.
Claimed responsibility for November 1975 murder of 26-year-old Joan Harrison in Preston. So he signed it Jack the Ripper. If it was even him. Because they didn't identify who
actually
sent the letters.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, the balls on this dude must be huge.
I'm telling you. The hoaxer case was reopened in 2005, and the DNA taken from the envelopes was entered into the national database. The DNA matched that of John Samuel Humble. So it wasn't even him. An unemployed alcoholic and longtime resident of the Ford Estate in Sunderland, a few miles from Castletown, whose DNA had been taken following a drunk and disorderly offense in 2001. So they had his DNA from back then. But in 2001, when he got arrested, they took his DNA to put in the national database.
Mm-hmm.
So when they reopened it in 2005, they matched the old envelope to his DNA that they got in 2001. Humble was charged with attempting to pervert the course of justice for sending the hoax letters and tape. He was remanded in custody until March 21st, 2006, and was convicted and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Humble died on July 30th, 2019, at age 63. Now, mind you, we are still in 1979. That was just a side note of the letters.
Yeah, what happened to him?
So on September 1st, 1979, Sutcliffe murdered 20-year-old Barbara Janine Babs Leach. Oh, see, Babs. That's cute.
That makes me think of Babs Bunny.
You hear that? A Bradford University student. Her body was dumped at the rear of 13 Ash Grove under a pile of bricks, close to the university and her lodgings. The murder of another woman who was not a prostitute again alarmed the public and prompted an expensive publicity campaign emphasizing on the Wearside connection. Despite the false lead, Sutcliffe was interviewed on at least 2 other occasions in 1979. Despite matching several forensic clues and being on the list of 300 names in connection with the £5 note, he was not strongly suspected.
Wow, they just suck at their jobs.
And I also must note that there's a picture in here. One of multiple billboards erected across northern England in 1979 appealing for information pertaining to the identity of the Wearside Jack. The billboard says, "Help us stop the Ripper from killing again." And then it has a phone number on there. Yeah.
See, they need to stop giving these people names.
That's why people do, like, that's why some of these sick people do it, because they want an infamous name. They want to go down in history.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be the second Jack the Ripper? Like,
no clue. No clue.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be, but.
Right, I definitely don't want to be. But, you know, shit happens, and you accidentally kill somebody, and then you keep accidentally killing more people.
Over and over again. Oops, I fell.
Oops, my bad. Just like you accidentally cheated.
Yeah.
Or you accidentally hit somebody. Like, it happens. It happens.
All the time.
All right, we're into 1980 now, so this is the last of his little killing spree. On June 26, Sutcliffe had stopped while driving, tested positive for drunk driving, and was arrested. So he was stopped and he was arrested for drunk driving and tested positive. Like, they don't say that anymore, tested positive. It's like you have some disease. Whilst awaiting trial for this, due in mid-January 1981, he killed 47-year-old civil servant Marguerite Walls. So he was out. And while he was out waiting for his trial, he killed.
Why not?
Right. On the night of August 20th, she left her office between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. to walk to her home in Farsley. He incapacitated her with a hammer blow to the back of the head as he continued to strike her while yelling, "Filthy prostitute."
You know, we're not laughing because it's a funny situation. It's
not a funny situation, but it's just, he just yells out, "Filthy prostitute." She was leaving her office,
like,
and he just yells out, "Filthy prostitute." Who does that?
crazy people.
Ugh. He was beside a driveway when he did all this. In order to move her 20 yards from the place of the attack up the driveway and into a high-walled garden, he first tied a length of rope around her neck and tightened it. He choked her there, kneeling on her chest, and removed almost every piece of clothing from her. Once she was dead, leaving just her tights, he partially covered her body with grass and leaves before he left.
That sounds lazy.
Well, he carried her up in somebody's yard, too. He carried her up the driveway into somebody's garden. On September 24th, a 34-year-old doctor from Singapore, I know I'm going to get this wrong, Apadya Bandera, was walking home from meeting friends when Sutcliffe followed her into an alley in Headingley, Leeds. He struck Bandera on the head, rendering her unconscious. Then he was startled, dragging her along the street with a rope around her neck, and fled. So, I don't know if she lived or not.
Oh.
It just says unconscious. It doesn't say she died. Maureen Mo Lee, 21, an art student at Leeds University, was attacked by Sutcliffe on October 25th. She was in a pub with friends in the Chapeltown neighborhood of the city when she was attacked as she hurried down the street to catch the bus home. Lee was suffering from significant wounds when she awoke in the hospital, including punctured hole to the back of her skull, a fractured skull, a fractured cheekbone, a broken jaw, a severed spinal cord, and numerous scratches and bruises.
Jeez.
A severed spinal cord.
So she's paralyzed then?
Maybe, depending on where it was. Probably.
I would assume so.
Yeah, I would assume so too. 16-year-old Teresa Sykes was attacked in Huddersfield on the night of November 5th. Sykes was going to shop in Oaks, Huddersfield, when Sutcliffe hit her from behind. Sykes' boyfriend heard her screams and ran out, scaring Sutcliffe off. Sykes was recovering from brain surgery when Sutcliffe was arrested.
Man.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, if you survive, you're going to have brain issues, you know.
Yeah. Brain damage.
Yeah. I couldn't think of the word damage.
I was like, spit it out. What are you trying to say?
Issues. Like, so he...
Yeah,
He
I
must
would
be
assume
going in with some power, man.
that's what it was saying, like that he had with his victims, even though they survived, they're going to have lasting issues and trauma and things like that. So yeah, like I would assume they would have brain damage.
Yeah, are you really surviving then?
No, I wouldn't. I'd be like,
yeah, because
I'd be like that one chick. I wish I would have just died there.
Yeah.
20-year-old Jacqueline Hill, a student at Leeds University, was murdered on the night of November 17th. She was returning home to her students' hall of residency in Headingley, Leeds, when Sutcliffe delivered a blow to her head before removing her clothes and stabbing her repeatedly in the chest and once in the eye with a screwdriver.
Oh.
Could you imagine?
No, I don't want to.
But you already did. Mm. On November 25th, Trevor Birdsall, a friend of Sutcliffe's and the unwitting getaway driver of his first documented assault in 1969, reported him to the police as a suspect. In total, Sutcliffe had been questioned by the police 9 separate occasions in connection with the Ripper inquiry before his eventual arrest and conviction.
These cops suck.
Yep. So there's criticism of the authorities.
I would imagine so.
The police were criticized for being inadequately prepared for an investigation of this scale. It was one of the largest investigations by a British police force and predated the use of computers. So all the suspect's information was handwritten on index cards, which probably helped him get away with a lot of stuff.
Because you can't like type in a keyword and
get it.
give you a list of...
Right. Aside from the difficulties in storing and accessing the paperwork, it was difficult for officers to overcome the information overload of such a large manual system.
I bet. I guess we take for granted our systems now where...
It's easy.
Yeah. It's
easy just to pull up somebody's... You just type in their name and there's a shit ton of information on them.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't arrested.
Yeah, you can type in anybody's name on the internet.
And get information.
Find them.
Mm-hmm. So as I said before, he was interviewed 9 times. All the information the police had about the case was stored on a paper, making cross-referencing difficult. Compounded by television appeals for information, which generated 1,000 more documents. So,
sheesh.
It really caused more work than it should have been. In 1982, the Byford report into the investigation concluded the ineffectiveness of the major incident room was a serious handicap to the Ripper investigation, while it should have been the effective nerve center of the whole police operation. The backlog of unprocessed information resulted in the failure to connect vital pieces of related information. This serious fault in the central index system allowed Peter Sutcliffe to continually slip through the net.
Yeah.
So the attitude, there's more on him of wronging why the police were wrong. The temptation to appoint a senior man on age of service or grounds should be resisted. What is needed is an officer of sound professional competence who will inspire confidently and loyalty. And they found that Oldfield's focus on the hoax tape was wanting. He ignored the advice of survivors of Sutcliffe's attacks from several eminent specialists from the FBI in the United States, from the dialect analysis Stanley Ellis and Jack Windsor Lewis. The Wareside Jack was a hoaxer. So that didn't get a lot. They focused on that a little bit more than they did on the actual prostitutes or victims.
Witness.
Yeah.
Witnesses.
Uh-huh. So his attitude towards prostitutes were... The West Yorkshire police at the time was one of misogyny and sexist attitudes, according to multiple sources. Jim Hobson, a senior West Yorkshire detective, told a press conference in October of 1979, the perpetrator, this is what he said, has made it clear that he hates prostitutes. Many people do. We, as the police force, will continue to arrest prostitutes, but the Ripper is now killing innocent girls. That indicates your mental state and that you are in urgent need of medical attention. You have made your point. Give yourself up before another innocent woman dies.
Who cares about those sex workers?
Nobody. And that's sad
And that we've seen that several times.
Oh yeah, that
Like,
the prostitutes get just
Sam Little. You
yeah.
know?
They're nobodies.
Yeah.
That's what they think of prostitutes. They're nobodies. Nobody loves them. They're not
And
people.
They didn't investigate half of it, or even when he was caught in the act of it, you know, he was let go because it's a prostitute. She don't matter.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's
Or
unfortunately
sex worker.
the sad. Oh yeah, sex worker. Unfortunately, that's the sad reality of it.
Yeah.
So here's his arrest and his trial. On January 2nd, 1981, Sutcliffe was stopped by the police with 24-year-old prostitute Olivia Rivieres in the driveway of Light's Trade House in Melbourne Avenue, Broomhill, Sheffield, South Yorkshire. There's too many names in these cities.
Yeah.
Or whatever these are. A police check to probationary constable Robert Hides revealed that Sutcliffe's car had a false number plates. He was arrested and transferred to Dewsbury Police Station in West Yorkshire. At Dewsbury, Sutcliffe was questioned in relation to the Ripper case as he matched many of the known physical characteristics. The next day, Sergeant Robert Ring decided on a hunch to return to the scene of the arrest, and he discovered a knife, hammer, and rope that Sutcliffe had discarded behind an oil storage tank when he briefly slipped away after telling the police that he was bursting for a pee. Sutcliffe hid a second knife in the toilet cistern at the police station when he was permitted to use the toilet. Wouldn't that be a red flag? Like, you just said you had to pee.
Oh, and now we found a knife in there. Ugh.
Right. Right.
He's not the brightest.
And he had to pee again. The police obtained a search warrant for his home in Heaton and brought his wife in for questioning. When Sutcliffe was stripped at Dewsbury Police Station, he was wearing an inverted V-neck jumper under his trousers. The sleeves had been pulled over his legs, and the V-neck exposed his genital area.
What?
Yep.
What is going on?
It's this dude, man. He's crazy. Like... So he's exposing his genitals. The fronts of the elbows were padded to protect his knees, as presumably he knelt over his victims' corpses. The sexual implications of his outfit were considered obvious, but it was not known to the public until being published in 2003. After 2 days of intensive questioning in the afternoon of Sunday, January 4th, 1981, Sutcliffe suddenly admitted that he was the Yorkshire Ripper. Over the next day, he calmly described his many attacks. Several weeks later, he claimed God had told him to murder this woman. Mm-hmm. The women I killed were filth, he told police. Bastard prostitutes who were littering the streets. I was just cleaning up the place a bit. I mean, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I have no words.
No. Sutcliffe displayed regret only when talking to his youngest murder victim, Jane MacDonald, and showed emotion when questioned about the killing of Joan Harrison, of which he denied having carried out. Harrison's murder had been linked to the Ripper's killings by the Wareside Jack. But in 2011, DNA evidence revealed the crime had actually been committed by convicted sex offender Christopher Smith, who had died in 2008.
Okay, so it wasn't his.
Yeah, that one wasn't his. He was charged on January 5th, 1981, and at his trial he pleaded not guilty to 13 charges of murder, but guilty to manslaughter.
What is
Again,
with these people wanting manslaughter for
murder?
For murder.
I don't know. I don't know. On the grounds of diminished responsibility. The basis of his defense was that he claimed to be the tool of God's will. Sutcliffe said he had heard voices that ordered him to kill prostitutes while working as a gravedigger, which he claimed originated from the headstone of a Polish man, Bronislaw Zapolski, and that the voices were that of God. He pled guilty to 7 charges of attempted murder. The prosecution intended to accept this plea after 4 psychiatrists diagnosed him with paranoid schizophrenia. But the trial judge, Justice Sir Leslie Boreham, demanded an unusually detailed explanation of the prosecution's reasoning. After a 2-hour representation by the Attorney General, Sir Michael Havers, a 90-minute lunch break, and another 40 minutes of legal discussion, the judge rejected the diminished responsibility plea to the expert testimonies of the psychiatrist, insisting that the case should be dealt with by a jury. The trial proper was set to commence on May 5th, 1981.
So they didn't accept his
paranoid schizophrenia.
Okay.
It lasted 2 weeks, and despite the efforts of his counsel, James Chadwick QC, Sutcliffe was found guilty of murder on all counts.
Good.
And was sentenced to 20 concurrent sentences of life imprisonment.
Good.
The jury rejected the evidence of the 4 psychiatrists who gave the testimony that he had paranoid schizophrenia, possibly influenced by the evidence of a prison officer who heard him say to his wife that if he convinced people he was mad, he might get 10 years in a loony bin.
How'd that work out for you, bud?
Justice Borum stated that Sutcliffe was beyond redemption and hoped that he would never leave prison.
Yep.
He recommended a minimum term of 30 years to be served before parole could be considered, meaning Sutcliffe would have been unlikely to be freed until at least 2011. On July 16, 2010, the High Court issued Sutcliffe a whole life tariff, meaning he was never to be released.
Good.
After his trial, Sutcliffe admitted to 2 other attacks and was decided that persecution for these offenses not in the public interest. West Yorkshire police made it clear that the victims wished to remain anonymous.
Wow. So this dude is still alive, though?
No. So Sutcliffe died at the University Hospital in North Durham at the age of 74 on November 13th, 2020.
That's right. I forgot.
After having previously returned to HMP Franklin following treatment for a suspected heart attack. But at the same hospital 2 weeks prior, he had a number of underlying health problems, including obesity and diabetes. He had contracted COVID-19, but was understood to have refused treatment for the virus. A private funeral ceremony was held, and Sutcliffe's body was cremated. He died of COVID.
Yep. The one good thing that came out of COVID, guys. Yay.
Yeah. There is a ton more. That could probably be a 2-part episode. But we'll see. We'll see if we can cover some more of this.
All right.
So for now, that's all I got.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad he's dead.
Me too. And he died of COVID, so ha ha ha.
Ha ha.
You suck.
That was a lot.
And there's more. There's more. So we're going to have to do a second episode.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Yes. But you guys get the gist of it. He was a monster. He was the Yorkshire Ripper. He was an all-around
Horrible
asshole.
guy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Scum of the earth.
Yes. See, I can have a 2-parter.
Wow, yay.
See, so sometimes my fly by the seat of my pants isn't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I am impressed.
See?
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah. A lot of
So part 2
information.
coming up soon. We'll have it my next episode.
Okay. All right.
We'll do it with part 2.
Okay, so you'll have mine in between there.
Yes.
Oh, man. That was a lot.
That was a lot. Yeah. It was a lot. And there's still more.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What an awful guy.
I'm telling you, like, his weapon of choice is a hammer to the back of the head.
He didn't deserve that bow tie.
No, he did not. And now he's not attractive.
No, not at all.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. Well, guys, we appreciate you listening to us.
Yes.
Please come back next Wednesday for another. And if you want to send us in your spooky stories, or if you want to even just say hi to us, you can send an email to spinechillingchatspodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. There's
There's no hyphen in spine chilling for that one. But if you want to check out our website, it's spine-chillingchatspodcast.com.
Yes.
We've got links to episodes on there. We've got a link to our merch store.
Yes.
You can send us an email directly from there.
Yes.
And there's a little about us on there.
Yeah, with our pictures and everything. And if you want to send in your spooky stories or any story that you guys, feel like
we should know
about, even serial killers, whatever. You can remain anonymous. We won't have to say your name. We can omit it.
Change it.
We can change it. Anything. We can say your name if you want us to. So don't be scared to send those in.
Yeah. And we're so glad you came.
Yes.
We hope you come again. And most of all, we hope you keep
it spooky.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Spine Chilling Chats, your go-to podcast for all things murder, paranormal, and macabre. Keep sipping that spooky tea and diving into the darkness with us. If our tales have sent chills down your spine, don't forget to hit subscribe and share with your fellow lovers of the haunting and horrific. See you next time.